It's named for the
I don't even
unusual
know.
pine forest that grows miraculously on a barren plain of sandy, acidic soil. Coupled with this curiosity is the hideous monster that supposedly haunts these woods, the Jersey Devil.
Yo. What's up, mystery seekers and monster hunters? I'm wearing the Monster Squad hat today, G. I'm Matt,
I can see that.
joined in the bunker with my brother Greg. Today, we are talking about something in our own backyard, something that has spawned a hockey team and has gave kids nightmares for years.
I don't think it spawned a hockey team.
Yes, it did. It
No,
spawned
the fans voted on
Yes.
the name of the team.
because it spawned here in New Jersey.
All right.
We were talking about the New Jersey Devil, if anybody can guess. Jersey Devil. We grew up here in New Jersey. I've been a Monster Squad, member for 35 years now.
You been a member there?
Yeah, that's why
Okay.
they gave me the hat. They sent me the hat for it.
All right.
But man, we're talking about the Jersey Devil today. We're going to talk about the folklore behind it, some of the history, the origin story that I think is very well known out there. And it's been repeated time and time again. Talk about a couple books. I watched a crap load of movies on this too.
Yeah, I watched a couple of documentaries on this.
Oh, really?
I read a couple
I want
things.
to talk about that too. And then we're just going to share some of our own memories growing up here in the Garden State about the Jersey Devil, reading Weird New Jersey, things like that. But first, we want to jump into some weird news for this show. So I sent you an article
Yep.
about the title was pretty telling, or I don't know if it's just like a clickbait kind of thing. Former manager of DOT Aerospace Threat Program, UFOs are real.
100%.
And you already believe this before even reading the article.
Yes.
You didn't have to get convinced by this or anything.
No.
So it didn't shed any new light on you. What I thought was pretty interesting, if people wanted to go, it was actually in the Huffington Post. So go to huffingtonpost.com. And it was an article, let's see. It was an article on October 11th in 2017, obviously. And obviously, if you type in former manager of the DOD, Department of Defense, people don't know, basically talking about UFOs are real. I thought it was pretty compelling, and one of the things that was compelling about it, it talks about people in the CIA, gives names. I mean, obviously we can verify it. I didn't verify it without, going any deeper than this article.
Sure.
But in one of the cases it said, in short, less than 2 weeks after leaving the Pentagon, this guy Lewis, who is part of the DOT, basically said he confirms UFOs are real. They exist, and they have been officially documented. I thought that was a pretty substantial thing in this article that stands out from a guy, the Department of Defense, coming out, putting his own name behind it, and saying UFOs are real.
I would just like to see the evidence that they documented it. Like, what did they document?
I don't know.
Like, do they have video evidence? Do they have, like, the bodies? Do they have, what do they have? And you said you guys were listening to the Joe Rogan podcast?
Yeah, I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with, obviously, one of my favorite band, the Blink-182, like growing up.
The Blink-182?
It's Blink-182.
I didn't know.
Are they called the?
No. It's Blink-182.
But whatever. My band, the band that I grew up on,
Sure.
Blink-182, and one of the band members, it kind of put a damper on the band, just knowing this guy, Tom. I'll just leave it at that. Go listen to Joe Rogan podcast because he basically kind of says everything.
What did
said-
you think?
he
The
says
Ghost had some opinions about this.
I mean, it
Yeah,
was,
I just thought he sounded a little, he sounded a little out there. But if what he said is true, it'd be pretty interesting.
I didn't listen to it yet. Maybe I'll
I
listen
think
to
he
it.
was saying something along the lines.
listen to it tonight.
That he was gonna. He started a different company.
And he said he's been in kind of bed with the Department of Defense, the government. The officials came to him, told him some secrets,
Right.
because he had all this information.
Okay.
He had this information that nobody else in this room. I mean, I've been searching for this stuff for years, ever since I was a little kid. But he has more information the information that he received was just from reading books, from what I gathered from. I mean, you'll have to listen to it, but
Yeah, it seemed like he said that because he
Read
researched
books.
it for and read books for so many years, he kind of cracked the code, and because of that, government officials reached out to him or something.
Okay.
I mean, we have a podcast. If government officials want to reach out to us, please.
But I think a big part of what he was saying too was that because of his past and because how he can, it seemed like he was suggesting that the government wants to tell the general public stuff, but they need someone to be that voice to reach out to the younger generations and get the message to them in a way that maybe only an ex Blink-182 member can do. I mean, it sounded a little preposterous, but
What did Joe Rogan say?
Joe Rogan seemed pretty,
Blown away.
pretty shocked by it.
Huh.
Well, the thing that interests me during the program when they were talking
Yeah.
was he said he had all this information, but I can't talk about it.
Yeah, he kept saying, I don't want to go into that right now.
I don't want to go into that. I can't tell you. I can't disclose this. I can't do this. I can't do that. You have all this information.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just say it?
the
Who
government
cares?
is basically making you a conduit to the people here, and you can't talk anything about it? That makes no sense. So you're just like the government, in
Pretty much.
essence.
Well, he was saying that it'll all come out in his books or whatever.
Yeah, but is that a good thing just to sell books now? That's
I
just
mean,
it's
to
a
me,
money grab.
If that was the whole purpose of the podcast,
He did great.
Yeah, I guess he did a good job. I went to the website.
So we're gonna write a book?
We should write a book
Why
about
can't
all
talk?
those
We can't
discoveries.
talk about what's in the book.
Well, you first have to start a really, really popular pop punk band, get super, super famous, then write the book and start the company, and then the government will come and give you their secrets.
That's it.
I mean, that's what we're trying to grow here. A popular paranormal, mysterious, spooky show, monster hunters, conspiracy theorists. We're all right here in this bunker talking about it. And it's one of those things, if you believe in this stuff, you know, I'm on your side. If not, like when people come out with information and they say, yeah, I have all this information, but I can't disclose it. It's like,
Yeah, I think that's just BS.
yeah, it's like somebody sitting in the room with, me and you and just saying, oh, I had the secret about the ghost and I want to tell everybody about it, but I can't at this moment. And it's like, come on, you just gave us a tease and now you can't say anything about it. You say you have all this information, you can't say anything about it. It kind of, to me, in my eyes, just puts a stamp on either you're crazy, either you're just trying to sell books, or you don't know shit, and stop wasting our time.
Yeah, probably the last two is probably true.
Probably, but I mean, there also is the slight possibility.
It is a possibility, right? And we just saw this article a month ago come out, Department of the Defense, saying UFOs are real. Now, why are they saying that? Like, why now? Is there some type of agenda? Are they selling books? Are they trying to,
Here's my thing. Why wouldn't you tell the American public? Why do you think they would not tell the American public that aliens and UFOs
Because
are real?
people would freak.
You really think so?
for a couple reasons.
Yes.
For a couple reasons. People will freak.
About what though? Who
Their
cares?
there's like a huge portion. Let's
Pick-
just take the United States.
No. Let's go even deeper. Let's go deeper. Religious people, very
Right,
religious
exactly.
people. You're gonna basically put an end to all their beliefs, and then anybody that's religious, not here just in the United States, but anywhere outside of the United States, throughout the whole world. Now you just said, all right, what we know is all kind of bullshit. And it's like, all right,
But it pretty much is though.
granted, but people kind of stay in these blinders, right? We know we have a routine. We get up in the morning, we go to work, we come home, we eat, we may, go to the gym, work out, go watch some TV, we do our thing, and everything's fine. When that kind of pattern gets messed up a little bit, people do tend to freak out.
Yeah, I get that, but how would they freak out though if you say all right, aliens are real, they've been here since
Their
1940?
whole like he was saying, just take for example the religious people. Their whole purpose in life
You're not
Is-
religious.
is diminished, right? It might even be demolished, right? Because then you realize there's this whole different group of beings that are never talked about in your holy books, not mentioned, and it's like your perspective has to shift. I think, in a good way, it could galvanize the human race because it
Probably.
could say, I don't care what race, religion, ethnicity you are, we're humans and there's these other people out here. But I think a scarier notion is that they keep this information from us because what happens if they're in contact with a different life force, life being,
Yep.
and they're not happy with the way that we're running this world, right? And they have strong opinions on, you guys are doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, but the government doesn't want to stop the machine, right? So they keep that information away from us. What happens if they gave us,
Right.
like that documentary, if they gave us a source of infinite power?
That would be awesome.
But there's so many people.
Yeah, but you watch
right
that.
now who
Yeah.
don't
You
want that
turned us
to
on to
exist.
that documentary, and,
Yep.
and it's kind of the same thing. It's like, all right, it's if you had something, if you had an ability, or you knew something. Say you were friends with Superman, right? He's an alien. He can come from other planets, and then all this. I'm just trying to give an analogy that I could think of real quick. And you had him,
Yep.
but you only had him. And it's like, all right, you could pretty much do whatever. And you have the secret, and you're like, all right, well, we're going to make a deal. And you made a deal with them. And now it's like, all right, you could do this, this, and this, but you can't do this because we still want to have some control over it. All right, well, now you're giving me opportunity for whatever he may want or it may want. And then now you kind of leave the American people or just the rest of the world kind of in the dust, unknown.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
something to
know,
think
man.
about, man.
It is, and that could be like a whole nother episode of like talking about like religious beliefs and like where they're actually rooted from.
I mean, yeah, we come from, I guess we grew up with religion, but as we got older, I think we've strayed away from it. Not say we don't fully believe, but it's not something that we make a part of our daily lives anymore. So it's an interesting take on it. But if anybody wants to go to that article, just go to the HuffingtonPost.com and just type in former manager of DoD aerospace threat program, UFOs are real, and talks all about it. So it's interesting. One other thing too. Hey, people want to call the show. We have the phone number 732-660-8893. We did have a call. She wanted to remain anonymous. It was interesting. I let you listen to it. You guys listened to it.
Yep.
And do you believe in psychics? Because from what it sounded like, she was kind of had that psychic ability. I'm not going to play it. It's really long and it's kind of choppy.
I do to a degree, I think.
It was interesting. Some of her stories. I mean, it was out there in a way.
I would like to maybe either have her on or talk to her just to see, like get more details.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, if you ever want to contact us before we start the show, just visit nightmare365.com. You can Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, obviously on YouTube. Subscribe, give us a rating on iTunes, and anything else, give us a call. Our phone number's all there. So we are going to talk about the myth, the legends, and the origin stories of the Jersey Devil. So the Jersey Devil, the folklore behind it, one of the big stories, or the main story, the origin story, is from 1735 here in New Jersey, in the Pine Barrens of southern New Jersey. We're going to talk about the Pine Barrens a little bit too, if people aren't familiar, what they are, where it's located. And so the Jersey Devil, it all started in the Pine Barrens itself. The origin story, there's so many different origin stories, but from the main one that I found and I read constantly, whether it was through this book, people want to check it out, Phantom of the Pines. These guys written extensively. They also wrote another book in the 70s, The Jersey Devil. Obviously something that we grew up on. We're New Jersey. There's even the Pinelands Preservation Alliance. They have their Jersey Devil and folklore on there. You can get information there. One of the things I really want to talk about, which I thought was pretty interesting, NewJersey.com has an article on the Jersey Devil itself. And even the New Jersey Historical Society has stuff on the Jersey Devil. So there's plenty of information that you can find about this legend.
Well, it was in X-Files first season.
It was in X-Files first season, episode 5.
And then there was
a little different. I thought it was going to be a little bit better, but
and then whatchamacallit, they have a paranormal group searching for the Jersey Devil. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. I didn't even find that.
Yeah.
Where'd you come across them? Just on
I,
social
I
media?
just Googled it. Yeah.
Oh, I found a thing too. Obviously, Weird New Jersey does extensive. Obviously, the T-shirt that I'm wearing, Weird New Jersey, has the Jersey Devil on it, smoking a cigarette. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, so this has been rooted ever since we were kids. We kind of grew up on this legend. Obviously, we talked about the hockey teams named after him. You
Yep.
know, I think we're the only state in the Union of the United States that has a state demon. I think there's a lot of other stuff that's out there that I guess you would say has their legends in each state, but we're the only state that actually has a demon. But the origin story I wanted to touch on because it's kind of everywhere. From the movies that I watched, The 13th Child, I watched the documentary, The 13th Child, Jersey Devil, The Barons, they all kind of had the same story. So the common description of this is in 1735, on a dark and stormy night in Leeds Point, around that area in southern New Jersey. If no one knows where that is located, it's pretty much a little north of Atlantic City. So if you know where Atlantic City is, it's right in that area. And on a dark and stormy night, Mother Leeds, Deborah Leeds, gave birth to the 13th child. There's some accounts where she talked about before she had the child, if there's a child that's going to be born, let it be cursed, let it be the devil, can't do it anymore. So she has this 13th child on a dark and stormy night, and the midwife's around, and you have to set the picture because it's a 1735, 1735, this is all going on. So even before America was founded, and then all of a sudden this child's born. Most commonly it's a boy from the stories. A boy is born and then all of a sudden morphs. It morphs into basically this weird creature. It has a kangaroo-like features. It has cloven hooves, forked tail. It has, the wings of like a bat, has the face of a horse, the head of a horse, face of a dog. Just this weird looking creature all of a sudden morphs from this little child, kills the midwife, scares the family, then all of a sudden shoots up the chimney.
Yeah.
And then disappears into the Pine Barrens. So that's the origin story. That is the story that's commonly out there, no matter where you search. Little details here and there change what it looks like, reading. I thought if anybody really wants to get a good understanding of the myth, folklore, where it all comes from, again, I can't recommend it enough. The Phantom of the Pines. That's a great book. And even in them, they have a couple different origin stories that I wanted to touch on. I don't know if you heard this. So obviously, that's the main story, but they also said that Mrs. Leeds was part of a witchcraft thing. And, she was doing witchcraft and the father is actually the devil.
No, I didn't hear that.
So that's one of the theories behind it. That's a story that's been floated around. You hear it on certain things.
Yeah.
But most of the origin story is kind of what I just said before. Then you have another origin story where it just said it was a prank. It was basically like these people, goes in a little bit more detail, but basically they come out and said it was a prank. They were playing tricks on, the locals.
Well,
just to
yeah,
kinda
I
scare
read
'em.
that. I read that they came up with a story just out of boredom, really, to tell the local people.
Yeah, and there was also another story too where, since she was involved in witchcraft, that it was somebody else that put a curse on Mrs. Leeds. And then, I don't know, they said it happened in Leeds Point. That's, you can go back and do a lot of history. The Leeds name is synonymous with South Jersey and,
Sure.
that area. You can find a lot of documentation on the family and their history. So you can look that kind of stuff up. But at the same time, I heard it was in their house. It was at, I think it was a Stroid house.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry if I'm screwing up that name. But it was there as well. So that's a big thing. But from the research that I found, which this is what I'm kind of interested in, is just from reading the book and a lot of other websites, like I said, is so before 1909, it was known really here and throughout, everywhere else as the Leeds Devil. after 1909, that's when you start seeing Jersey Devil appear more. And it also takes on different forms, like you see from this book too, just to get people, like, it'll give you the dates and times, what it looked like. Now what it looks like. Now it looks just weird as shit. But
everything gets embellished over time anyway.
yeah, well, that's one of the things that what I found fascinating. It was known as the Leeds Devil and then changed in 1909. And then obviously the origin story basically starts in 1753, right? So 1735.
Yep.
But then you also hear dates in the 1800s, later date 1800s, and then all of a sudden, I even heard reference into one of the stuff that I looked at, even closer to like 1900 and something, or even like 1908, 1909. It's like, what?
Well, yeah, 1909 was like the mass hysteria, the mass sightings, and like the mass...
Which I want to talk about because I think that's really interesting.
Okay.
So in 1909, and this is one of my theories.
Let's hear this.
And, well, like my theory, I'll give it at the end.
No, let's hear it now.
No. But the theory is in 1909, right? There was all this mass hysteria and...
Mass sightings, yep.
There were sightings pretty much in Burlington County, Camden County, South Jersey, and even close to, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And even some sightings in Philadelphia, which I didn't even mention. One of the backstories before I get to this. Sorry, don't like to skip around, but I'm going to skip around. You know who I love in history, Benjamin Franklin. And
you have a tattoo of Benjamin Franklin.
I do.
Kite and a key.
Yep. With, Halloween scene with pumpkins and stuff.
Yep.
It's pretty badass.
He's in a graveyard.
Yep. But the story dates back to his newspaper that he had in 1730. I found the print through franklinpapers.org. And this is a bizarre story itself. It dates back in October of 1730, and it talks about in Mount Holly kind of this witchcraft case where basically these people were doing witchcraft and they were making pigs talk. You could look it up. Go look up Pennsylvania Gazette under the Benjamin Franklin papers, and it's all right there. So some people say even the origin story starts from that, and they say that like the whole thing with witchcraft kind of morphed into stories that kept going back and forth, and then all of a sudden got passed down as now this Jersey Devil. They heard Leeds Devil, now it's Jersey Devil.
Sure. And
that gets back to the case in 1909 where there was mass sightings where people saw footprints, because it was in the winter time. So people were seeing footprints in the snow, and they were saying what was odd about all these sightings were people were hearing the screams, they were seeing something outside of their place, and then it would be on the roof at one point running around, then it would be on the ground, and then like a 7-foot fence, it would all of a sudden be like 2 feet running, and then it'd be on the fence, over the fence. And they're like, how the hell does it do that? It has to be some kind of mythical creature.
yeah.
So how do you explain stuff like that where people sighting this thing screaming, this shrill? Like they kept saying that it's a blood-curdling shrill, screech, and then, they see this. It's basically hooves, what they were describing, like these 2 hoof prints, but they're not on 4 legs running around. They're on
only
2.
2, yep.
So that's kind of weird in itself. One of the first things that, brought, in my head, my attention was this kind of story. All right, is it some type of bird?
Yes.
Some type of crane. We know there's cranes that live down in southern Jersey. So I'm like, all right, is it dark enough where they see this big crane, this big bird? It is the 1900s. It's not like you can go online and be like, oh, I saw this and describe it to Google, and all of a sudden it'll give you like, oh, here it is. It's a crane. It's a eastern, shorebird, and it does this, this, and this, and it looks like this. And it has hooves or crane feet and really skinny, big body, long neck. It's kind of what people describe.
Yep, that's exactly what people describe.
So my thought, my thinking was, all right, people seen this. It could have been a bird. But at the same time, people claim, no, it wasn't a bird. I know what a bird looks like. People say, like, we hunt. We live in South Jersey. There was a lot of mining that goes on, a lot of farming. There's still cranberry bogs down there. People hunt all the time. Because if people, when they associate New Jersey, they basically picture the turnpike, the refineries, Newark Airport, you're coming in, and all this kind of stuff. So they don't think of New Jersey as wilderness.
Well, yeah, that's really...
Yeah,
North and South Jersey, it's 2 different things.
Extremely different. Even the people that live there.
Correct.
Like we know we grew up on there because when I went to school in North Jersey, you could tell the people who were from North Jersey. They were really fast paced, talk really fast. People from South Jersey, really mellow, really slow. So it was a big contrast. I mean, even the earlier state, when we were first established as the colony, we were divided pretty much east and west. We had two capitals in Burlington and then also in Perth Amboy. So there is a big difference, and which a lot of people don't know. They just see stuff on TV from The Sopranos.
Well, The Sopranos were in the Pine Barrens one episode.
Yeah, they were. So maybe people are dumping bodies back there. So there's something spiritual, and one of the things too, which I found interesting, was a lot of legends date back to the Native Americans, where they basically said like the Pine Barrens were the area of the dragon. Basically, they described it as a dragon-like creature that roams and protects the Pine Barrens. So when you think about that, and then you think about the stories, you kind of say, all right,
it's pretty similar. Yeah.
Is there something to that? Or is it just something where it's passed down for kind of ages, and it's, that telephone game where things all of a sudden morph into what it is today? So I don't know, man. I can't explain it. It's a really cool story.
It is a cool story.
And I love that we have it here in Jersey. But at the same time, it's like, it is a stupid looking creature. Some of the pictures that are out there, I wish it was a little cooler.
Yeah, I mean, like
kind of like the Mothman or the Boggy Creek, monster. And
yeah, this just looks like a weird horse, skinny body type.
Yeah, and a lot of people attribute it to like, all right, it took pretty much everything that's in the local area and combined it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, all right, there's bats. There's a lot of bats down there. There's a lot, like the cranes with the feet. I mean, I don't see too many kangaroos with like the kangaroo-like face, but dogs, horses. So, could that be something to it? Could there, like, because these legends, which get me intrigued by them, is they have to start somewhere. Whether it is a prank, whether it is something real that morphs into something unreal, or there is really some type of supernatural thing that lives down there. And then I also found a lot of things that correlate with the Jersey Devil and Bigfoot kind of together.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I don't understand from like a scientific kind of background, if you look at it, how do these things exist without anybody really seeing them in mass sightings? And then how do these procreate, and to keep, because we are pretty far from 1735 till now. So how does that happen? Like even like Bigfoot is understandable in the northwestern part of this country because
there's not a lot of people.
But it also, at one point the Bering Strait was connecting, other parts of the world where other parts of the world claim like a Yeti or Bigfoot exists, but there's no connection. How would they get here? Like, are they taking main highways and roads and?
Yeah, I don't know. Species are being discovered like new every day, really, if you really look at it. So, I mean, it's not that
they are
uncommon to think like something exists without people noticing or seeing.
Well, that's the thing, and that's one of my thoughts when I first started hearing about this in 1909, the 1909 incident, because it kept coming up and up again about all these mass sightings from all over. So I started to think about what time of year it was. It's a winter, so there's snow on the ground, or early spring. There was a lot of conflicting dates, so you never really know. But was it some type of migratory bird that just was new to the area, that came here, and all of a sudden these people have never seen it before, and now all of a sudden they're freaked out?
Yeah, no, I got two theories.
Okay.
Like, pretty plausible theories.
I want to hear it. Let's see if they jab at mine, which I'll definitely get to.
First is, let's say it was a crane or a bird, right? That was deformed.
Right.
Deformed in some way. Maybe it mated with like another animal or whatever that got crossbreeded.
Yeah, we know like wolves have mange, you know.
So maybe it had, either a disease or crossbreed or like something defunct about it. Now it looks the way it does. So that's one theory.
Okay.
The other theory is that it's a sandtail crane. If you look at that, if you Google that, like I think it said like it can grow up to like 6 feet tall, a huge wingspan, and like the face like obviously looks like a regular crane, but just picture like what happened like let's say if his beak got like smushed in or something.
They are pretty big birds. Their wingspans are, looking at right now, they are pretty. I can't gauge from a picture, but
So that can hop around on the roof, on a fence, anywhere. So that's like my two theories.
I could see that. I could see both of them being very plausible explanations on it, and it's really interesting. And I think it's also that these two gentlemen kind of dedicate their lives to it, and people dedicate their lives to it. Like even historical societies, which I've worked with in the past, and like they like this is a whole page dedicated to it.
Yeah.
It's like so.
Well, it's something so deeply rooted in New Jersey's history that, like, why wouldn't people want it to be true and accurate? Like,
well, the same thing. I want to believe in a lot of that stuff. And also another question I would have for people is, all right, they believe in Bigfoot, but they don't believe in the Jersey Devil. Like
Bigfoot's more plausible, though.
okay, some people believe in UFOs, but not Bigfoot.
I believe in both.
All right, but that's my point. Like,
Sure.
There are certain myths and monsters and creations that we really believe in.
Sure, yes.
Like, even
people get attached to certain things.
Yeah. Even for me, like, there's certain things when people say like, "Oh, just name a monster," and it's like, it's plausible, but I don't really buy that one. But Bigfoot, oh shit, I really buy that one.
Yeah.
Or yeah, like UFOs, I really buy that one. Or like this messed up like creature, 5 different creatures in one. It's a mutt, which we're mutts. I mean, if you look at it, we come from all over the world, with our ancestry DNA, where we could trace ourselves back to. And that's one of the things. It's like, all right, how do people not believe in this kind of stuff? So that's always one thing that kind of hangs over my head when just talking about this. It's something that fascinates me. It makes me want to ask questions. But I also try to bring a logical explanation to it, just from the stuff that we read,
Sure,
and we know about it. But if you saw the devil, would you be nervous? Would you run away?
the New Jersey Devil or like
Yeah.
a real other
The Jersey Devil, man.
Would I run away? No.
You wouldn't? You would go look for it? What I wanted to talk about, I sent to you also, is, and this was so stupid. This is what I hate about certain paranormal groups or investigation teams or crap that's out there. Share your story, but then also, this is why I don't buy into like the ghost hunters and all that crap anymore.
Stop that.
I still love it. Their pictures are up here. Their DVDs are up here. I enjoy it. I mean, I even watched this episode from, what is it called? The A&E program.
Paranormal State.
Creatures, Cases, the New Jersey Devil. And I was just like, when I saw it, I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. Like, the thing that annoys me, it's like Finding Bigfoot, any of these shows. They go into the woods. I watch it because I'm still fascinated. I'm like, oh, they're in Jersey, so I'm going to watch it, even if it is Bigfoot, whatever. And they go in and everything. What was that? Like, it looks like an owl, dude. Like, I'm watching on TV, but they make it out to be like, it's like this greatest thing.
Well, yeah, they have to.
Then all of a sudden at the end, they see something that looks like a little My Pony with wings. And they're like, that's the Jersey Devil. Like, and they're so adamant about it. And it's like, that looks so ridiculous. That doesn't even look like some of the pictures that we know. It's like small. It's miniature. It's like My Little Pony literally with wings. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I see stuff like that and I feel like it's almost like production companies or TVs like poking fun, like, you stupid idiots, you believe in this stuff. But at the same time, like, I really want to believe because it's in my home state. And then I also believe in other people's home states' monsters.
Well, what is your theory?
I was going to say that for the end, but if you really want me to talk about
Yes.
it, I will. All right.
I would like to pick these apart.
All right. Well, here's my theory on the whole thing. All right. Because before 1909, we know like the mass sightings, whatever, it was called Leeds Devil. After it was known as the Jersey Devil. So my theory is basically, all right, we know Leeds, the family name exists. You can trace that back. She had a child.
Sure.
1735. We know medicine's not that great. We know people are born disformed all the time. So now imagine living in a little small town by the water, it's sandy soil, all this other crap. Like, it goes on and on. They're hard people. They're living in harsh climates. The child's deformed. All right. Now, there's witchcraft that's still going on from accounts in the newspapers, even all the way up in New England. And we thought it subsided, but you still hear reports. Now, that's in people's minds. Now this child's deformed. They don't really see that much, because most kids die if something was wrong. So this kid lives a little bit. It's deformed. People start calling it like, oh, that's the Leeds devil. Don't go near that house. That's the Leeds devil, right? So it could have very well, be, which I didn't do any research on this. It's just a theory, and I didn't go into the family history or anything like that. But I think something did happen.
Okay.
But now it's a deformed child, and now it's getting around. Like, we know how people talk today.
Sure, yeah.
Now it's just social media. But back then, now people are talking house to house in the community, at their churches.
Okay, I can see how it started there, but then how does like the 1909 sightings happen?
But here's the thing. Like, you had that in the back of your mind. Now for 200 years, not 200 years, basically less than 200 years now, because it's been almost 300 years now that this story's been compiled and keeps going and going. So for 170 years, it was talked about, the Jersey Devil, Now imagine I tell you, you tell somebody else, then they keep going. The story's going to be like, oh my God, you're terrified. You're still living in 1909.
Sure.
We don't have a lot of the modern amenities that we have now.
No.
You're brought up as a child because, like we're going to talk about next, some of our memories, reading Weird New Jersey, all that kind of stuff, searching for these legends. Everybody told you for your whole life, you grow up, and then all of a sudden you just see something freaking weird, like a crane. You've never seen it before. And then your thing, and the first, like when you try to register something.
Yeah, what's the first thing in your mind that pops up?
You're trying to register, like, all right, what am I seeing? Like, oh, crap, I know it's a bear looks like this, but, like there's so much stuff that goes on. Like, that's why they say, like, when you look at clouds or rocks, and I forget the name of the phenomenon. But
yeah, but your brain processes it to make it look
you
like
look
something.
like faces, like here, like this house. Oh, there's the eyes, there's the nose, there's the mouth. And, you try to associate things that you already know. Now, this has already been implanted in your brain. You already know this for 100 and something years. It's been passed down. Grandpa told you, mom told you, great-grandpappy told you, all this stuff. And now, like, you see like one of those cranes. And then... but you only get a glimpse of it, right?
Sure.
It all of a sudden, there's how many times have you been sitting watching TV and then all of a sudden, like a raccoon or a bat or something goes by and you're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
So they're in your house. It's late. There's no TV. They're reading books. They're sitting by, still fire, little candlelight. And all of a sudden, boom, this thing passes by and they're like, what was that? I saw wings. It was huge. And then your mind starts to play tricks on you. And now it's morphed into, all right, this crane, which had 6-foot wingspan, jumped on your roof. And now you just hear banging around. And then you go outside, but you also hear other animals. Do you ever hear of a fox screeching?
Yeah.
A moose. We've been up to Maine. How many times do you hear that? Bears, like the different animals. And now you go outside and all these things are going on. Now your mind is really wild and like there's shit. But it also doesn't claim that the people saw it, that they, wrote down or even drew what they saw. And it's like,
yeah,
I can't explain that. Like, if people showed you this and they're like, this is exactly what I saw.
Yeah.
Run past my car at 80 miles an hour. And that's exactly what I saw. Like, most witnesses are kind of,
they're not
BS.
credible. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's something, if you're in a panic state.
Yeah. You're going to misremember details.
Right. Even though maybe some of the story is exactly on par, and that's where you have to kind of pick apart. But then it doesn't explain the people that see it today.
Sure.
It's like,
well, yeah. When was the recent sighting? They said.
Which another thing I like about this book.
I mean, it was like like 15, 20 years ago almost.
No, man. Like this whole which I like about this book too. But it was written in 1998, 99.
Yeah.
But if you look at the back of it, it gives you a timeline.
Yeah.
And it starts out like what I said with the article, because I did look it up because I was like, all right, is this true? Like, It has no reference to the Jersey Devil from Benjamin Franklin's Pennsylvania Gazette from 1730, but it starts there in Mount Holly. Then it ends, if you flip over, because it's a long timeline in this book, and it ends in 1996 with like the last sighting. But from what I found online, from obviously Weir, New Jersey, it still continues. Yeah, from this book, the last sighting from the Phantom of the Pines is 1996 in October. Take it as you may. It's from Sayreville. A mother claims to have saw the Jersey Devil flying over her car at night. That was one of the claims. How do you explain that? That's 1996, so you should know. But then again,
it's at nighttime.
The story's been passed down for how many years now?
Yeah.
Over 200 years. It's around Halloween because it's October, so we could say that.
Yeah, so I'm sure people want to believe that something paranormal's there. I don't know.
It doesn't account for everybody's experience.
No, it doesn't. But like, look at like the people who generally believe in all this stuff, these ghost stories, all these paranormal stuff, like all these monsters. Like, they want to believe. Like, generally, most people don't look at it like scientifically or come up with an explanation like that could be plausible. All they say is like, all right, I saw something I've never seen before. This is what it is.
Yeah, they don't.
You know,
and I don't think a lot of people, like we were talking about before, believe just in the stories, right? They don't look any further.
Yeah, they don't.
They're not going to, I mean, I feel like every week that we do a show, we don't have a research team.
No.
You know, it's just me and you. We just look at, books. I mean, for the last week, all I did was watch the movie. I watched The Barons, The 13th Child, the documentary, The 13th New Jersey Devil.
I saw that,
I read The Phantom of the Pines, The Jersey Devil, which we have here. I've read articles from Weird New Jersey.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to engulf myself with these stories because I am fascinated by them. I am intrigued to see what people say. But at the same time, I do have that voice inside me that says, all right, how much of this is BS? And how much is this credible? And like, you have to try to pick and choose, because there may be somebody that really looks terrified, but that's playing a joke on you. But then there's somebody that really may, you kind of be like, all right, I don't buy anything that you're saying. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, but they might be, they might be telling the 100% truth.
Yeah, they might believe it in their own mind, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's what we said. Either it's like the story like had to be true at some point, right? Okay, I can see like the child being deformed and they think it was possessed or whatever by the devil, blah, blah, blah. And then, you see like a weird, mutilated, deformed bird or crane that looks like it because it walks on two legs.
Yeah.
And, people freak out about it. Like, it would be cool if it was true, like, hell yeah, like any of these things. Like, we have Bigfoot on camera or we have the Jersey Devil on camera. Like, here it is. Like, that would be awesome.
It would be. Like, how come, since all these sightings... I mean, I don't hear them in the news regularly, here living in New Jersey. I don't hear people talk, but it's something we grew up on, but we haven't seen video. And the video that there is a picture. It's so stupid. It looks so fake. And even there are a video that just looks awful. It looks like My Little Pony with wings being brought around on a string. You don't even see the feet moving.
Well, it's like
just like this thing that just like...
You ever like drive in your car? Like, because I've done this a couple of times. Like when I saw something out of my window, tried to film it with my phone. It looks like shit.
No, it does. But the video, the video I'm talking about.
Yes.
Where it looks like a little stuffed pony.
Yes.
And then it has the wings, and it looks like it's almost like going around.
Yeah, it's on
the thing, and
yes.
it's very stiff.
That's not natural movement. So
no,
yes,
it's not.
Fake.
It's like, oh, come on, man. Like, people that put that shit out there, I know that they're trying to just be, jokesters, but then that's the stuff that gets circulated time and time again. It's like, come on, man. Like, all right, if that's all we have to offer, then this is bullshit. Then
you think it's true?
Since I live here, I would like to think that there is some validity to, behind it, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it is real. And I think, like I said, my theory, I think it was real to a point. It was
Correct.
Real that there was some maybe deformed kid, and people just kept talking, and then it morphed into, after the 1909 sightings, where now people actually saw something.
Yeah.
Instead of just being orally passed on through the townspeople and through generations. Now people actually see something. So now all of a sudden it's like, all right, this is definitely the Jersey Devil. This is no more the Leeds Devil, because it's not just in Leeds Point. It's not in this one little section of New Jersey, but it is, whatever. But one of the things I also want to talk to and mention in the show is obviously the Pine Barrens, because I think that can get overlooked too. And what people don't know when they think of Jersey, again, there's a lot of misrepresentation.
Yeah, the Pine Barrens is huge, man.
The Pine Barrens is part of a 1.1 million tract of Pinelands Natural Reserve, which ranges pretty much from northern Ocean County down pretty much down south and west of the state. And it encompasses 22% of New Jersey's land area. So 22% of New Jersey. Do I have a picture?
Just so they can see.
Well, yeah, just put it up on the camera and stuff.
Yeah, put it up.
Let's see. Put it up on your phone. But that's a pretty big portion of land here in New Jersey. You think how big the state is.
Like.
Yeah, and put it in there. You could zoom in on the camera. All you have to do is put it in there. But just see the Pine Barrens itself. I mean, it's extensive for the southern part of New Jersey.
Yeah, man.
And that's one of the things people don't realize or understand. But I don't know, does that have to play into it? Like, there is a part of New Jersey that's uninhabitable, really, because of the sandy soil, the acidic, all this kind of stuff.
And it's protected. It's
protected. So it is possible for some type of creature or something to live down there, and we never knew about it.
Sure.
But then it's like, it's almost like if you lived in a certain house or a certain area of here in New Jersey and you never left.
Mm-hmm.
And it's possible that you may never leave, but you might want to go explore some things from time to time. So why is there no mass sightings since 1909? You get sightings, of course, but there's no like a mass hysteria sightings where there's a lot of tracks and information about it. Why is that not the case? Is it just staying in this densely forest populated area of just wilderness and its own family of other animals and species? I don't know. But then again, it comes back to my point: how does it procreate? And then how does it survive if it is truly a devil? It is demonic. It could.
That's it right there.
So it definitely has to be demonic then, and it definitely has to be the devil for it to survive for 200 years without procreating.
Maybe it lives underneath the devil's tree.
Have you ever been there?
No.
See, as much as I don't believe in some of this stuff, but the devil tree is pretty spooky.
Have you've been there?
Yeah, a bunch of times.
What do you think about that?
I've been there during the day and at night.
Okay. What's your impression?
If people don't know, like give the backstory. If people don't know what is the devil tree, where is it?
I gotta look exactly. I don't know exactly where it is.
So it's in New Jersey. It's kind of in the western middle half of the state. I think it's in, I want to say Bridgewater. I could be wrong though. But just picture a big open field. Obviously they plow and do it. It's just like any other type of cornfield, a field that they grow wheat, all this other stuff on. I don't know exactly what they grow at the time, but I know there
Martinsville section of Bernards Township, Somerset County, New Jersey.
Okay. So yeah, it's in like the middle part of the state, I guess you would say upper, depending on what you classify, North and South Jersey. But it's this weird looking tree, very old tree in the middle of this field. And it's creepy. And then you hear stories about it and you kind of get creeped out, because I went to, college in northern New Jersey. So we did take a ride down there one night. And that's getting back to my point about some memories that we have on these things. It's like all these stories get passed and passed. It's almost like the elevator game that we talked about with Elisa Lam. Like, it's like, I want to try it, but at the same time, I'm a little hesitant, even though I know it's kind of fake.
See, I always thought when I was little, those two were connected.
The Jersey Devil and the Devil Tree?
Yeah.
Obviously, because of the devil?
Yes.
No, it makes sense if you're young enough and you don't know and you're not... We didn't have the internet growing up, so all we really had were those books. And which gets me now is I kind of want to stop at Barnes & Noble on the way home and get a Weird New Jersey magazine and just check it out. Because we did grow up on this stuff. And it's one of those things where, like we were talking, I mean, it's just these legends get passed and you kind of get creeped out, even though it may not be true. And we used to scare the crap out of each other. And yeah, the DoubleTree, it's interesting.
Well, didn't they try to chop it down? They couldn't.
That's one of the things, the claim. I don't know if that's true. It does sit next to a nice apple orchard. You know, we got pumpkins there one year, apples, and it's pretty cool. And then I remember passing. I remember going into the apple orchard and I'd be like, "Oh crap! Right across the street, that's the DoubleTree." And I didn't realize that we were there like years ago at night. Yeah, one of the theories too, if you took the bark, and one of the claims, we went with a kid in college, and he was like, "Yeah, don't take the bark, don't hit the tree, don't do anything," because the last time we did that, the kid brought it in the car and we got into a bad accident. I was like, are you fucking with us? And he's like, "No, dude, like this is real." And so I don't know if he was messing with us or if it was just something that like it really happened to him and it was just maybe a coincidence, but it was freaky because they went there and they heard all these stories. Because to go off the legend too and stuff from the Weird New Jersey books is it's I guess they hung slaves on the tree. And like all their blood and everything like souped into the soil, and all of a sudden like it became like this
gateway to hell. They say,
pretty much this bad omen, this bad tree, and you know, cursed. And one of the cool pictures, which I never saw a picture, but one of the cool like stories behind it is in like when it snows.
Oh yeah, it doesn't.
There's a ring around the tree that, you know, even if it's bare and there's no leaves, there's just no snow in this like big circular pattern around the tree.
Yep.
And it's like, you know, it adds that mystery. So you go to it at night, you know, with your friends doing some stupid stuff, and you know, you hear these stories and it creeps you out. But yeah, no connection to the Jersey Devil. I don't know. Maybe there is stories behind it too, like the Jersey Devil does lurk around there and, you know, gets people as well. I don't know if anybody has a story or knows of a story with a connection to the DoubleTree, send it to us.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because I never heard it, but
that would be like a good road trip podcast to do once.
To the DoubleTree?
Yeah.
Let's do it. It's not far.
No.
We can do it. Because one of my things too was I wanted to go down and explore the Pine Barrens a little more. I don't know if you've ever been down.
Would you camp out there?
Yeah. Well, I've been down there. I've been to Wharton State Park, which the movie, The 13th Child, if you check it out, where they filmed that there, which I thought was kind of cool. Terrible acting, but I thought it was a cool movie just because they were in that whole state park. And I was like, oh, not last summer, the summer before. We went down there, rode our bikes, went hiking.
Yeah.
And
you and the ghost?
It's an awesome spot. No, the ghost didn't go, but it was a cool spot. And it's one of those things where you look at it and you're out there in the middle and there's just these rows of houses, campsites, and just wilderness like surrounds you. So I could only imagine being there at night. I don't know. Did you ever go down to Smithville? There's a cool store down in Smithville. They have a little village. They have a holiday village, you know, during Christmas time and December, and it's huge down there. But everything else around it is just desolate. It's right by the water. It's the pines. It's part of the pines, and even where I live now, just south of me, starts technically the Pine Barrens, you know, the reservation of certain areas that they deemed, you know, part of the area. So I don't know, man. It's plausible, I guess, that there is some type of creature that they can't explain. Maybe it is a bird. Maybe it's some type of bird that
hasn't been discovered yet. Yeah,
or just been procreating with these other messed up birds, and that's what people saw it, you know. But yeah, it's something. Well, what is some of your other memories, like growing up with Weird New Jersey, with the Jersey Devil? Because I'm trying to think of when I was younger. I don't think I have engrossed myself more with this topic than what I did this last week before the show.
Not so much on the Jersey Devil. Like Weird New Jersey, like I remember a lot of stories. Like the Devil's Tree, the Gravity Road, like Dancing Jesus.
Oh, that would be a cool spot since that's right down the block from the studio.
Whippoorwill. the Dempsey house that we talked about.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Was
think.
it the psychiatric place like in Marlboro?
Yeah, that was there. What about the yeah? There's so many cemeteries we went into as kids,
The
but
Greenlight Cemetery.
yeah, I'm trying to think of if there was one story or something that stands out as far as being like, oh, this is the Jersey Devil, like this is we went hunting for the Jersey Devil. I don't think we.
No, the only thing I really remember about like the Jersey Devil is just hearing about it, and then like obviously the hockey team.
Buddy, we're number one. We beat anybody. We're the Devils! The Devils!
Yeah.
Even Seinfeld, man.
Yeah, the reference in the thing, the Devils, but yeah, I couldn't stretch back far enough in my data of my mind where I just remember a time going back and saying
You were a devil for Halloween once.
that was cool, but I don't think that had any
You don't know that.
association.
You don't know that.
Yeah, maybe Mom. I'll have to ask Mom why she dressed me up like a devil one year. Did I want her to be because of the Jersey Devil? But it looked nothing like the devil. I just had horns, like almost like a Freddy shirt on, and the staff and a cape.
You should wear that next podcast.
Yeah, but it's not the Jersey Devil.
So what?
But yeah, I guess there is no stories. We never hunted for the Jersey Devil. We never did anything. We just saw sightings, and it was a cool story that was passed on.
Yeah, that was pretty
But
much
I
it.
never really looked into it. So I have to say this is like the first week of my life here in Jersey that I actually went all out with the Jersey Devil. And there's no other really stories that I have, that pertains to it. Just
Yeah.
like you said, there were so many other legends that we did go looking for just because they were close.
Correct.
Maybe because, which I don't know why we didn't do either, which I'm kind of upset, like
Why?
looking back on it. Like we did have cars, so why didn't we drive a little further? And I mean, I feel like we never went out to, like it was like a 20-mile radius. If we didn't go out besides this 20-mile radius, and then
Because
as
we had to
got
be
ol-
home, man. We had to be home by like 10. Dad would get pissed.
I guess, but it's like there were so many times where I'm like, why didn't I go to Philly or why didn't I go to New York more? Because I do remember going to New York on the train, but other than that, I don't remember being like, oh, let's go down to Wharton State Park. Maybe because we didn't have like access like we do now with like the internet.
I don't know, but you had Weird New Jersey magazine.
Yeah, but it was tough to find because it's not like if I had Weird New Jersey magazine now and I look it up and then I say, oh, it's at Wharton State Park. And I'm
And
like,
you Google that and see how far
yeah,
it is.
where like I would have to go, hey, Mom, where's Wharton State Park? I don't know. Go look in the dictionary. All right. I have
Yeah.
to go to the library. Well, they're not open now. Crap. Now I have to. Dad, do you have an old map?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Of course he has a map. You know
no,
that.
he did, but it's not like, oh, I think when it got to the point where it was
Or
like,
remember MapQuest?
yeah, that was like the first.
That was like the first GPS. You had a MapQuest everything.
Yeah, and my dad printed everything out no
Yeah.
matter where we went. But that,
Shit.
see, that kind of makes me, I mean, it looks like we're really old now, which we're not, because we kind
No.
of came up right in the middle of,
Dial-up internet.
yeah, where they were
AOL,
going.
AIM.
So even that, though, like we weren't actively searching for stuff. It's not like you would go on and just chat with your friends. After that, it was like, all right, what else can I use this for?
yeah, porn.
Yeah, look at a porn, and then the image would load, and you're like, yep, yeah,
Buffering.
yeah. Oh, damn it! What? It cancels, and then you get pissed.
And Dad would tell you how to delete the history.
Yeah,
Did he ever tell you that?
I don't think he did. He said delete the history.
Yep.
I don't
He
want to see
picked
this
he
shit.
picked me up from football practice. I remember this.
Please, please tell me this.
This is phenomenal. So, I was freshman year of football.
Okay.
He picks me up in the van. Remember the van?
Yeah.
Okay. Throws down a box of condoms.
Shut the hell up.
This is great.
How come Dad never did that to me?
I don't know. And he goes, "Hey, delete the history on the computer. I want your mom finding this."
Shut the hell up.
Yep.
Really?
And that was it. I didn't say anything. He didn't say anything else. That was it.
Dude, I don't remember Dad ever having a conversation with me or anything like that.
That was phenomenal. I didn't say a word. I got out of the car.
And you're just like, what the fuck?
I was like, "Oh crap."
Did you take the box?
Yeah, of course I took the box.
Jesus.
Just picture Dad going into like CVS or like Rite Aid to buy condoms.
I think that'd be amazing. But
What if you were the cashier? What would you say to that guy?
All right, have fun, buddy.
I would be like, what the fuck?
Like, how big was? What were we talking about? Like a 20-pack, 30-pack?
I don't even know.
I
10-pack? I don't know.
I mean, maybe I was too dumb or naive or anything. Or I just
Eagleton
think-
loved the Twisted Pleasure ones.
Shit, all right, that's.
I'm just saying. Remember those? They had all those. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I do remember them, but I was just like, oh shit. I just never.
Never used them, huh?
No, well, I
You just
never
didn't give a
remember
shit.
Dad like doing any of this stuff for me. Maybe just like, all right, I lost this kid.
He did lose you.
And then-
I was 4 years younger. You were already in college, so
Yeah,
if
I
you
was
didn't know
3.
by then
I was 3, man. You're 3, 9 months.
just saying.
But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, but I'm surprised. Like, I mean, I know we were as kids, we were more into just running around outside and into sports. So we weren't as much as we did go to look for some of these legends. We didn't
Yeah.
really get into it a whole lot.
I remember another thing that happened when we were little. I don't know if you remember this. We didn't own this house yet, right?
Yeah.
Remember when we used to come over and then we went down the basement and there was like a burnt crutch? Remember that?
I remember finding weird shit in the house.
Yeah. I remember being in the basement. It was like completely dark. It was me, you, and the Gainers.
No names, bro.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
And like they were like, "This is a burnt crutch down here. Like there's got to be blah blah blah." And then I remember like somebody doing something and like running out of the basement.
I mean, now you're saying it, we used to do stupid stuff all the time and scare the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
And like, see, that gets back to the stories where it's just like you tell the stories over and over again, and you do get creeped out, and you're like, crap, we're in this basement. And is that all right? There is a burnt crutch. Like, could that really have happened? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Like any of these stories.
It's plausible.
It
but
is.
There's no crazy evidence on this.
I think we covered a lot today
I mean, we did.
on this episode.
As far as a Jersey Devil goes, I mean, we didn't. There's so many other stories we could talk about with the sightings and people's experiences and the devil in the pop culture. I mean, there's people that have tattoos on it.
Yeah.
There's people that obviously. I would like something actually now doing this and really getting involved. I would like something for the studio, Jersey Devil related.
You want just like a New Jersey Devils jersey, hockey jersey?
No, well, there's a cool pennant that I might add to your side that they have. I'll show you after the show.
Okay.
But if anybody has Jersey stuff, send it. We have the P.O. box now. You can send it to us. It's all on our website. But yeah, I don't know what else is there to talk about. If anybody has other stories that they would like to share pertaining to the Jersey Devil, we would love to hear, because with any of these episodes that we do, I have no problem with coming back and talking about them, even if they're for a brief moment, whether through Weird New Jersey, like the Weird News, or if I pick up a Jersey, Weird New Jersey, like I said, and there's a story in there, I don't mind referencing it or doing another episode.
Sure.
I mean, I know we talked about it a lot in our theory,
Yeah.
which I don't know what theory is correct. I mean, ultimately, do you think my theory of
That's plausible. Yeah, the kid being deformed, yes.
being deformed and that's how it spawned
Correct,
thi-
yeah.
this thing?
I could see
and-
that. Yep.
And now it's turned into something totally different?
Yep.
Or it could be an actual creature that does exist. And I'm still intrigued to watch other episodes that go hunt this thing, or these, not the Paranormal State one, that
My Little Pony.
After seeing the My Little Pony thing, I just got like turned off.
Yeah.
But there's plenty, man. There's plenty to talk about and all that other stuff. So yeah, if you have any stories that you would like us to discuss, that you want us to put on the show, all of our contact information is at nightmare365.com, from our phone number, from our email. What else? We have everything. Contact through social media. We'll answer you back. But next week, dude.
What?
Next week's an anniversary. We did a little preview on
YouTube?
Yeah,
It's
last
up on
week.
YouTube, yeah.
We're talking about JFK. Next week is going to be the JFK. It is the anniversary.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know how I feel about it. You know how I feel about that question, though. No, but
Yeah, man, there's a lot. There's a ton of information. That should be like a 2-hour special.
2 hours.
Like, you could talk about that for days.
All right, we can do a 2-parter.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much we really want to talk about. Again, just like talking about this, like getting back to the point where I made earlier, it's all right, if you believe in this, you can talk about it for hours. If you don't, like something like Jersey Devil, where it's all right, it's maybe plausible, but there's only so much you could talk about it where you start saying like, all right, this is just
There's
bull.
too much evidence though on JFK
right.
not to talk about that for a long time.
Like, how long is a long time?
That's 2-parter.
You want to do a 2-parter on it?
It's got to be a 2-parter.
All right, let's do a 2-parter.
The Ghost. You know anything about JFK?
He
or
hates
anything?
JFK.
You don't like JFK?
His favorite president was
Abe Lincoln.
no,
Barack Obama.
no, Herbert Hoover.
No, it wasn't. Shut
Yeah,
up.
it was. Big fan.
I know a little bit about him.
Who? Herbert Hoover?
No, JFK.
Yeah.
I saw that Hulu series. Remember that?
Oh yeah, the Hulu.
James Franco.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
awesome.
was that the one he traveled back in time
Yeah,
where he
yeah.
knew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was a great thing. That was Stephen King.
Yeah.
So that
Let me-
Was the date that he died, wasn't it?
1963,
No, the name of the show.
November 22nd.
What's your theory quickly?
It was,
On
yeah,
J-
it was 11/22/63. That's the name.
Yeah.
What's your
That was
theory
a good. That was a good.
quickly on JFK?
Some dude shot him.
Yeah.
Some dude
Some
did.
dude. You don't think it's Lee
Well,
Harvey Oswald?
Just like we
Oh,
referenced.
I don't know.
Just like we referenced in the beginning, X-Files did a show on the Jersey Devil. X-Files did a show on JFK.
They
too.
did, yes.
That was a good episode. I really enjoyed that
What
one.
season was that though? 3?
I don't remember. It was with Cigarette Man.
Yep,
He was
yep.
basically behind it in the sewer, pretty much on the street.
Yeah.
So
I don't believe that, but yeah.
I believe it. There's probably somebody in the sewer.
No freaking way.
How do you know?
Because you can't the angle of the shot. You
Oh,
can't get up.
you know everything about it now.
I
Yeah,
know a lot.
see?
I know a lot.
I know. So we'll do a 2-parter. Next week we'll do we're gonna be filming again live on YouTube, which will be Tuesday. The podcast will be everywhere on Wednesday, so the day after. But thanks everybody for tuning in to today's show. If you would like, send us information through our email, our phone number. Just go to the website, nightmare365.com, and please leave a review on iTunes. It helps us out, gets the word out there. And next week, JFK 2-parter, it starts.
Hell yeah. See you then.
So stay spooky, everybody. YouTube is